Hey everyone, it's Nicole again with the Deputy James Horvath report, badge 864. Alright, so now this is the I later learned guy. Later learned, but I was supposed to be right there. On 4/21/16 at 9:45 a.m., I was dispatched to a medical at 7801 Audubon Road in the city of Chanhassen, Paisley Park. Dispatch advised it was reported an adult male was down and believed to be not breathing. Deputy Hastings and I arrived on scene at 9:48 a.m. along with Chanhassen Fire Chief Johnson and Ridgeview paramedics. So, everybody is arriving at 9:48. I enter the front door of Paisley Park with my medical bag and was directed to where the adult male was down. Again, I ask, who directed you? The other one says, we were escorted. Where does it? Okay, it says emergency responders were met at the front door of the residence and escorted to where the male was located. And this one says directed to where the adult male was down. I observed there were 3 people inside the main entry door lobby area as I entered. Excuse me. I walked down the hallway from the front door, and to my right, I observed a male party down on the floor directly in front of the elevator. Okay, so Horvath and Hastings, H&H, arrived together. They are partners. And both of them are saying there are 3 people in the lobby area. One of them is talking about Prince being pulled out of the elevator as if he was there watching it, and later it becomes a little bit more clear that he did watch that take place. Then we've got the other one who arrived at the same time, went in together, but he later learns that Chief Johnson pulled Prince's body out of the elevator. So how is that? When the deputies both went inside Paisley Park, I don't think that one of them veered off to the left when looking for Prince. They're gonna go where everyone's saying, hey, there's a man down. Oh, he's over here. So then, why are we later learning anything if we're right there? I just don't. I don't know. Okay, but let's keep going. Okay, so who directed you? So there's 3 people. I walked down the hallway from the front door, and to my right, I observed a male party down on the floor directly in front of the elevator. I later learned the male party was actually inside the elevator and was pulled out by Chanhassen Fire Chief Johnson. The male party was later identified as Prince Rogers Nelson, date of birth. No little one right next to it circled. I observed Prince was lying on the floor on his back directly in front of the elevator. Chanhassen Fire Chief Johnson advised that Prince was still warm and began resuscitation efforts. I observed Chief Johnson begin chest compressions, so I got my AED ready from my medical bag. I handed my AED and pads to Deputy Hastings, as he was closer to Prince than I was. Okay, so that helps with I later learned, I think, a little bit. So he wasn't as close to Prince as his partner Hastings was. Additional Chanhassen rescue personnel arrived on the scene at this time. Additional Chanhassen rescue personnel arrived on the scene at this time. So does that mean that there are even more people to add to this equation since they were on the scene now? Or are these people that we've already been introduced to? But it says additional, so additional Chanhassen rescue personnel arrived on scene at this time. So I allowed them to take over my spot, allowing me to speak with the 3 people in the front lobby area. The 3 people in the front lobby area were identified as Andrew Bateson Kornfeld, Kirk Anthony Johnson, and just Marone NMN Becure. Maybe she's got a super long middle name, or maybe she's got 5 names. I'm not sure what that is, but okay. I proceeded to activate my digital recorder and spoke to Kirk about the incident. I was informed that Kirk is an employee of Prince's and handles most of his daily affairs. But one thing that's coming to me right now is he does say in somewhere in all of this, I don't see Prince every day. It's just standing out to me. All right, handles most of his daily affairs. The following is a summary of our conversation. Kirk told me about recently having to make an airplane perform an emergency landing due to Prince blacking out in flight. Kirk said Prince was rushed to the local hospital but refused to submit to a blood test while he was there to find out what was wrong. Kirk said Prince was rushed to the local hospital in Moline, okay. But refused to, okay, sorry. Kirk said that he told Prince that he needed to take him to the doctor when they got home so that he could get checked, so they could get checked out. I'm reading that a couple of different ways. Kirk said he told Prince he needed to take him to the doctor then when they got home so they could get checked out. Checked out of Moline's hospital. Check out of Trinity. In order to get checked out of Trinity, agree to see a doctor when you get home. Or get checked out by the doctor. Kirk said he told Prince that he needed to take him to the doctor, that Kirk needed to take Prince to the doctor then when they got home so checked out by the doctor, check out of Moline Trinity Hospital. What the hell? This is exactly, and I don't think that every time that, I'm not trying to say that there's this big conspiracy and I'm a conspiracy theorist and just, you start to sound a little bit crazy after a while because you see all of these crazy things inside of the investigation, you call them out, and you sound like you are crazy. But right here it says, Kirk said he told Prince that he needed to take him to the doctor then when they got home so they could get checked out. Okay, that could mean, in order, Prince, for us to get out of here, you're gonna have to agree to allow me to bring you to see a doctor. Okay, it could mean that, or it could be, look, Prince, when we get home, we gotta go get checked out. So which one is it? Kirk said he took Prince to a doctor's appointment at North Memorial Clinic at 5 p.m. yesterday, 4/20/2016. Kirk said he could tell Prince was going through withdrawal symptoms as he was driving him home from the doctor. Kirk believed the withdrawal symptoms were from prescription medications, but did not know what prescriptions Prince was taking. It's giving me more questions. More questions. Such as, what the hell do you mean you don't know what prescriptions Prince was taking? You've been the person that has been going to the doctor and picking up prescriptions, so why do you not know what he's taking? Number one. Are you holding on to the medications? Is Prince maybe you don't know which prescriptions Prince was taking because everything's mixed up together and there's random pills with random pills, and so it's pretty hard just to tell somebody what he's been taking if they're all mixed up and not labeled or mislabeled. And if you are the guy who handles most of his daily affairs, then why do you not know what prescriptions Prince was taking? If you are more of an assistant to Prince than Prince's assistant, then why aren't you having the conversation with him on a daily basis or at all of, okay, what medications are you taking today? Or what did you take? Or what would you like to take? Any of those questions pertain to this right here. And then here we go. Kirk also did not know how long Prince has been using prescription drugs, but suspected it to be a long time. Kirk specifically told me that Prince refused to take a blood test at the hospital because he did not want people to know about his use of prescription medications. Kirk told me the only thing Prince complained about on the ride back home from the doctor's office was that he was suffering from anxiety and dehydration. That's not jiving with me either. Dehydration on the way back home from the doctor's office, even though Prince just received IV fluids. Should be feeling pretty good in that way. And anxiety. What's giving Prince anxiety like that? What's bothering him? What is the cause of this anxiety that is through the roof? And that's where I think of any potential death threats or anything like that. Like, that would wig me out. What was he so anxious about? He was anxious, clearly. And I don't think it was because he needed his next fix. Okay, moving forward. Please see full statement for further information. Note, there is a considerable amount of background noise during our conversation, and at times it is hard to hear Kirk. Well, just speaking from my own experience, if it were me that was being questioned by police about something suspicious, and I'm tied to it in any way, shape, or form, they're going to question me. And if it's loud around where we are, they're going to take me to a more secluded area where it's not so loud, where they can actually hear me. And if they can't do that, they're going to tell me to speak up. So I just don't understand, again. But it's hard to hear Kirk. And it's loud. Oh, and then he's all done with Kirk now, I guess. That means all done. Kirk gets to be done being questioned because there's noise going on and it's hard to hear him. I then made contact with Michael Todd Schulenberg, date of birth redacted, at the scene. Schulenberg is a doctor at North Memorial Clinic and saw Prince the prior day. I asked Schulenberg if someone from here requested his presence, and he said no. Schulenberg said it was a complete coincidence that he had showed up at Paisley Park to meet with Prince to discuss substance abuse treatment. I believe that there are coincidences sometimes, but I also believe that there are so many things that get called a coincidence when it's not a coincidence. And a lot of the time, there's no coincidence. I don't think that things just happen because, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've got the wrong idea. Either way, my opinion can only matter so much about what we're reading. Okay. It's hard not to get a little bit complete coincidence that he showed up at Paisley Park to meet up with Prince to discuss substance abuse treatment. Schulenberg told me he has met with Prince twice at the North Memorial Clinic. Schulenberg reported the first time he met with Prince was April 7th, 2016. In this visit, Schulenberg met Prince at Paisley Park and then transported him to the clinic. Well, that's kind of weird, don't you think? I think that's weird. You meet a doctor for the first time. He's a friend of your best friend, or a friend of a friend, whatever. And now you're riding with him to the clinic? That's weird. That's weird. And I'm gonna call bullshit. And if it's not bullshit here, then it is later. Because later it changes from Schulenberg transported him to the clinic to Kirk brought him. So we can't even keep our stories straight, whether we're the police or the doctor's son or the assistant or the manager, or it's like everybody's a liar in this situation. It's like just the tiniest bit of truth is in here, but that's about it. And everything else is a lie. Okay. In this visit on the 7th, Schulenberg met Prince at Paisley Park and then transported him to the clinic. Schulenberg told me Prince's chief complaint on that day was that he was generally not feeling well and being nauseous. Weird way to word that, but all right. Schulenberg said Prince also complained of numbness/tingling in one of his legs and both of his hands. Schulenberg said on his visit yesterday with Prince, the main complaint reported to him was that he was antsy. So, we've got antsy, numbness and tingling in one of his legs and both of his hands, feeling nauseous, even though it says being nauseous, and just not feeling good in general. But the top thing was antsy, according to Schulenberg the liar's notes. Remember, he's a big fat liar. I was then assigned to the North Gate entrance on Autobahn Road and instructed to start a crime scene log. I kept a crime scene log beginning at 10:27 a.m. until 6:15 p.m. Note, I was relieved by Deputy Hastings from 12:29 to 12:50 p.m. I was also relieved by Deputy McCurahan. Well, now, who the hell is that? That's the first time I have it underlined. I've read it in the past. I can't keep all these people straight. Now we've got McCurahan. Deputy McCurahan. Now, was that the additional personnel? Let's see. Additional Chanhassen rescue personnel arrived on the scene at this time. And then here's a Deputy McCurahan. All right. Okay, so Deputy Horvath was also relieved by Deputy McCurahan from 2:22 to 3:01 p.m. I will be filling out a crime scene log report. I downloaded my conversation with Kirk to a CD. The CD was entered into evidence at the Chanhassen District Office. Shoo, how come he's not saying that about Schulenberg as well? Because it's only saying I downloaded my conversation with Kirk to a CD, which was entered into evidence at the Chanhassen District Office. Never said anything like that about Schulenberg. I'm noticing. Shocking! These reports are so thorough, I thought for sure it would be there, but... Okay. So, there's Horvath for you. I think that I've said everything that I needed to. Now we can discuss it.